I'm here to talk about Wind River. It's probably the best movie I have seen this year. I have just been to see it in the cinema, so I'm going to talk about it while it's still fresh. It is probably my favourite movie this year, for these reasons. The first reason Wind River made such an impact on me is because it was based on a true story, and true stories always make much more of a positive effect because it's more real. True stories make much more sense because they're tangible. There's more feeling and reality, and it makes everything more possible. And the fact that perhaps what happened in the film did happen makes it more emotional, rather than it be fantasy. Wind River is about a possible murder that happens out in the mountains in North America. A girl is found having crawled right across the snow through the night by a hunter. It looks like she's crawled across following a long run. It looks like she came to a crawl and then coughed up a bit of blood and died. So it's quite a harsh scene. What follows is a mix of law enforcement agencies, inclusive of an FBI agent, trying to work out what happened. And the local hunter, who works for the Parks and Fisheries Board, is brought in to help guide. Secondly, I think Wind River works particularly well because of good solid casting. Jeremy Renner plays this hunter who works for the local wildlife authorities and is very convincing as a man who knows the mountains and the scenery in the area and very proficient with his rifle and hunting. The FBI agent is played by Elizabeth Olsen and isn't massively known as an actress, but is the kind of actress you've seen before and probably, the beginning of her career. Therefore, I find that a little more exciting because you're not resting on the laurels of someone who's an accomplished actress. Jeremy Renner is more widely known, but is a very comfortable actor and very natural in this movie and plays very well against Elizabeth Olsen. There's a good dynamic and screen chemistry, despite the fact that there's also a character that plays his ex-wife. Graham Greene plays a head sheriff who looks after the Indian reservation and is again one of those sort of fatherly faces you've seen before and very convincing in his role and natural. We have another chap playing an Indian who's lesser well known, but it's certainly a face you've seen before. And I like that in these movies where you don't necessarily know their names, but there's a comfort in seeing familiar faces with the periphery cast. The third reason that I really do like Wind River as a movie is the epic mountainscapes and the scenery and how everything is cut together to paint just a beautiful picture, despite what's happened to this poor girl in terrible circumstances. It's beautifully bleak, and that kind of features both for the scenery and what you see in the harsh conditions of snow and winter, as well as the storyline. It's not a happy scenario, and yet so beautifully done that you can't not watch. Whether it's the scenes of snow and the falling flakes and the fir trees, the mountains in the background cutting across the skies, or whether it's movement, and then the colours of blue, dark skies at night against the pale white snow. It's very well shot and thought about to help carry the movie. Without that touch, it would perhaps lose a little, as it is such a negative story. Although you could say there's a happier finish to it. I would say Wind River is stirring, and the emotions are handled well without it being in a typical Hollywood fashion. It's quite raw, but it works because it's real, truthful, tempered, and the Particularly the actresses managed the emotions well, although I must say the Indian father who loses his daughter, that's very evocative, very powerful, and it leave me with, in my throat. See what you think. I do recommend to see Wind River. Ciao for now.